joined by Kunal Rambhia from The Streets. Hi, very good afternoon, Kunal, and thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now. Let me come to you for your first talk, and from the auto names, you have picked up Maruti Suzuki. Tell us how the chart's looking like, because clearly this time around it was a good set of performance from the company.
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. As you very clearly mentioned, on the set of the good numbers posted by the company on the sales front, I think this counter has bounced. But if you look at the technical front, the counter made the bottom near to 8,150 on the spot level couple of times. And from there itself, we saw a decisive bounce. So if the counter holds this level, I think one can initiate a buy on this, stop loss being 8,200. I think this counter is now heading for a new rally till 9,000 levels.
Right, let's also focus on the next stocks, that RVNL. Let's just pull up that one for you. They have got an letter of acceptance from NHAI. This is for an expressway project. So they bag an order. The order book now goes up, and Rail Vikas Nigam is up 9% on the back of that. Just look at the volume number as well. It's looking in much better than what it generally tends to do, Srishti.
Okay, moving on to the next stocks, and let's have focus on all these power names. And the news flow says that the prices have been hiked in the Mumbai region by 5 to 10% for all the residents from 1st of April itself, where in Maharashtra state electricity distribution, users can expect a 6% hike both in FY24 as well as 25, and the hike was allowed owing to the shortfall in the revenue due to the impact of COVID-19. If we talk about Tata Power specifically, they will raise the prices by 10% in 2023 and 24, and 21% hike is expected in FY25. And on the back of this news flow, the stock is seen to be buzzing.
Right, Kunal, once again, tell us, why is Nalco on your list?
So if you look at the overall performance of this counter, it's been very much muted. But at the same time, during the last session, only last week, we discussed about a trendline support. This counter has bounced really well from 76, which is a strong support. Today also, it's trading near to the high of the day in session. So this is again a good buying opportunity, initiating a buy with a stop loss of 77.5. I think this counter is heading for 84 and 85 levels very soon.
Okay, another metal counter in focus on Ashiana. You have picked up Moil. The stock is up 2%. Tell us, why is that so?
Well, yes, absolutely. The company released operational updates for the quarter gone by, where they said that they've recorded its second highest production number since its inception. The company produced about 13.02 lakh tons of manganese ore in the full year FY23, which is an uptick of about 6% on a year-on-year basis. Company has also undertaken highest ever capital expenditure and exploration to the tune of 245 crores, which is a growth of about 45% on a year-on-year basis. Apart from this, they've also informed about price hikes, where they said that they've revised prices of manganese ore prices have been reduced by 8%. However, basic prices of EMD have been increased from 2 lakh PMT to 2 lakh 5,000. So operational update coupled with price hikes is the reason the stock is buzzing in trade today, over 2%. In fact, it is nearing that highest point of the day mark, and now it is holding on with gains of 2%.
All right, Harsh, can you talk to us about EIH and why is that name in focus?
Well, yeah, so EIH has actually acquired a 40-acre land from the Andhra Pradesh government. They've acquired it on a lease for construction, development and operation of a 5-star luxury hotel or resort in Visakhapatnam. Now, of course, expansion plans always good in the hotel space, not new at least at the moment, and EIH following suit. And on the back of that acquisition, the stock up 2/3%.
Okay, moving on. Kunal, since morning we have been talking about all these auto names, but an ancillary, and from the battery pack you have picked up Amara Raja batteries. Tell us, what are the charts telling you for this one?
So if you look at this counter, it is in sideways consolidation since almost December, the beginning of mid of December. The previous rally which we saw was somewhere in the beginning of November, where the counter rallied from 540 levels to almost 660. Recently, if you look at the performance of last 4 to 5 days, this counter has bounced right from those previous levels itself. So the previous level is acting as a good support, and today's momentum is really good. So keeping that in mind, one can initiate a buy on this counter, stop loss being 570. I think the first target on this can be 625, followed by 660.
Okay, moving on, and once again, Kunal, coming to you, the next stock that you have picked up is IOB. Why? What are the charts telling you for IOB? Are you expecting any more upside in this one?
whole PSU segment was not really performing well. This counter is not an exception to it. We saw the rally till 36, 37, and now it's trading at 22, 23. But if you look at the intraday formation, there was a falling wedge formation which is giving a breakout today. The only condition is the counter should close near to the high of the day. Presently, it's trading at 23.15. So once it closes near to 23.30, one can initiate a buy. The stop loss will be 21.5. I think this counter is heading for 27 to 27.5 kind of levels.
Moving on to and focusing on another banking name, that is Dhanlaxmi Bank. The stock is up around 3.5% on the back of a strong business update coming in, where in the quarter gone by, the company saw an uptick in terms of total deposits, total business, as well as gold loans. And when we talk about the total deposits, that has seen an uptick of 7.5% on a YY basis at 13,327 crores. Total business up 11.5% on a YY basis. Gross advances grew by 17%, and the gold loans were seen to be inching up by close to 24% at 2,274 crores. And on the back of strong business update coming in, Dhanlaxmi Bank is in focus. Moving on, moving to another banking name in Kunal, the next banking counter on your radar is Kodak Mahindra Bank. Tell us what are the targets coming in for Kotak Mahindra Bank as we presume that it's yet again a buy.
Yes, absolutely. Again, we discussed about the same counter last week also. If you look at the broader consolidation, that was near to 1660s to 1680s. And from there, the counter has really picked up well. There was a falling trendline breakout which came yesterday, in fact, the last trading session, and today is a follow-through. The only condition again here is going to be the counter should close near to the high. It's almost near to that level itself. So above 1750, I think this counter can show us the levels of 1850 to around 1880 levels. The stop which we have to maintain is around 1720, but it's a positional wonderful buying opportunity.
Perspective that you can share, the stock was one of the top losers last week.
So the only attractive part of this counter is that if you look at the weekly performance, then the last week it made a hammer formation on the weekly chart, and that hammer turned out to be right near to the previous bottom that was of around 2020. Yeah, certainly the extreme bottom was 150, but the consolidation happened near 180 levels and it has bounced from the same level. If you look at the daily chart, last 3 days itself, it has come up massively with a good volumes. So immediate breakout to watch out. Or say I would call it as a resistance is 212. One can initiate a buy right now, stop loss being 195, ride the rally till 212. And if it crosses 212, I think counter is gonna head for around 240 kind of levels. We'll revisit the counter again next week. But for time being, target being 212.
Those are the levels to watch for Bandhan Bank. But Harsh, coming to you, you have picked up BHEL. Tell us why is that so?
Well, yes, BHEL has in fact received a letter of intent from the government with regard to defense equipment. And the quantum of that is 3,700 crore. Now, in the larger context, that's a large amount when I'm looking at the annual revenue. FY22 revenue was roughly 21,000 crore. So this is the largest amount, but to set context here, the period for which this particular contract is to be delivered is a 12-year period. So on the back of that, it's relatively a smaller amount, but at the same time, overall, an order in the bag nonetheless for BHEL. The stock largely flat, 0.5% lower in trade.
Okay, Kunal, once again coming to you from the pharma names, you have picked up Biocon. Tell us how the chart's looking like for this one.
So recently we saw the outperformance of, not really outperformance, but the first comeback of the whole pharma sector. Biocon was in a broader consolidation since the beginning of March. This consolidation was of around 205 on the higher side to 195 on the lower side. Today it has given a first breakout. It's a first attempt to come out of that consolidation. If this counter sustains about 205 for a day or two, one can certainly initiate a buy on this. Risk reward ratio is extremely favorable. Stop loss will be 198. And the first target which we can place on the counter will be 225, and we'll keep revising this again on the higher side.
Right, let's focus on Zydus Life as well. It's a stock which brokerages have liked. Today, Morgan Stanley has come out and released a report which suggests an overweight rating. The target price is 513, which means they believe that still there is an upside of about 20 rupees from the current level. Kunal, you like pharma name Glenmark. It's been one of the top performers from the low. What's the way ahead?
Again, as you rightly pointed out, good performing counter from the extreme low levels, higher top, higher bottom, confirmed in the yesterday's session itself. today is a follow through again. So one can initiate a buy. One can even start accumulating this on decline till 450. The positional stop loss of this counter is going to be 425. I think this counter is going to show us 545 as a first target and probably even higher.
Okay, so those are the levels to be watched out